in 2019, when I learned about a new initiative to launch to what would become CCS, I jumped at it. And in February of 2009, there was a 3-day workshop held at Harvard Law School. And at that workshop, we had scientists, business leaders, thought leaders, other experts across a wide variety of disciplines get together to really ask, how can we replace harmful experimentation on animals in a way that also betters human health? And from that question, CCS emerged. And I'm just really excited to be here with all of you today. And thank you all for those of you who've been with us from the beginning or just joining now on our journey. We're just poised to make some great changes. I wanted to especially thank our advisory council members who've been great at helping us with our strategic plan and developing our initiatives for the upcoming years. Their advice has been wonderful. I wanted to thank all our staff. Damon, Sarah, Tori, and Jared, who unfortunately could not be here today. He's our Director of Science and Technology. All of our staff members who are just so great to brainstorm with, to come up with fresh approaches, new ideas with. And one of the things I love about the staff here is that everyone is so flexible and so nimble. So that enables us to really take on new challenges, take on new approaches. If something we're working on may not be the best approach, we're flexible to switch and learn from that and switch and change to a different approach. So we are constantly learning as a group together and improving in our approaches and in our strategies. Of course, I want to thank our donors who have started CCS. Really, we would not be here, and I know everyone says that, but truly we would not be here without your support, without your faith and confidence in what we are doing and your passion behind what we are trying to do here at Center for Contemporary Sciences. And each one of you should feel truly excited, I hope, that your support for CCS, your working with us is really going to make a huge impact in ways that, as I said, not only improves human health, but improves it in the kindest way possible. So I just, this last year with CCS, we've been mostly focusing on creating a solid foundation, a solid organization that's poised to launch major programs and initiatives this year. But I wanted to share some of the highlights of the past year. One is that we've been really getting the word out about CCS. So we've had multiple interviews, we've participated in multiple podcasts and webinars and so on. And two of my favorites are one with, I did a radio podcast with a show called Outcomes Rocket Radio. It's a premier public health podcast. And what was so exciting about it is that I was being interviewed by someone who didn't really know a lot about the space that we're in, didn't know about animal testing, didn't know about new approaches that can replace animal testing. And as we progressed in the interview, I could just hear the enthusiasm and the excitement in his voice and in his questions as he started learning more about what we're trying to do and really getting excited about how we can really transform biomedical research. Lady Freethinker, a wonderful organization that's invited me back several times for interviews. But one webinar interview I did with them in particular, I enjoyed because my cat Nessie stole the show. She played a major part in the interview. And if you watch a lot of my interviews from now on, you'll see my cat Nessie is often a frequent a visitor on my webinars. We've also had some great publications over the past year. Dr. Jared Bailey published a major article in the British medical journal Open Science last year in November. And it was a real systematic look at animal testing and its translation to human benefit. And the study showed that there was very limited translation from animal testing to human benefit across the different categories that he analyzed. We've also had some publications in Science, some open letters, and some opinion pieces published. Directory of innovators that we have now posted online. It's on our website. It's free to anyone to use, and it's available for researchers, other scientists, funders, investors, students, media, anyone who really wants to know where innovation is happening, where innovation in biomedical research is happening that moves us back to studying human biology. And that's one of the core themes of what we are trying to do here at Center for Contemporary Sciences. We're not just looking for replacements of animal testing. So our motto is biomedical research needs to start and end with human biology. So our directory of innovators really showcases where these wonderful new techniques, techniques that we couldn't imagine even 20 years ago, are coming out. Techniques like organs on a chip, the human body on a chip, and basically you've distilled the major organs of the human body and connected them onto a microchip so that they recreate not only the structure but the function of all of these organ systems to a great degree. And other just wonderful methods like 3D printing of organelles or organoids, which is 3D printing of human organs that can be used in the lab to study human diseases. We're about to launch two partnerships with two large investment groups. A press release is actually going out later today announcing the first of these partnerships. And so we really want to drive more funding and more investment in these new techniques that can really transform biomedical research. And the discovery of these new techniques is really just happening. And we know that they can be improved upon and they can be continued to be used to a greater degree only if we drive more funding and investment into these techniques. Where there's a will, there's a way. I know it's a cliche, but we've seen how that is true again and again. So if there is a will, if people put their money into these techniques, in a sense, if our governmental funding is more diverted into these techniques, if there's more investment in these techniques, we'll continue to have wonderful techniques coming out again and again in the pipeline, and methods that we can't even dream of today. Who knows what next brilliant scientist is going to come out with next. So we're really excited about these opportunities. And if you are a company looking for investment opportunities, please do look out for our announcements on the opportunities that we hope to continue to build and create many different diverse options for everyone. And I'm also excited to announce the launch of a new program, a scientific endeavor, which we've called Breakthroughs Unlocking the Future of Medicine, which I will come back to a little bit later and discuss in a little bit more detail. But this has another opportunity to really be a game changer in biomedical research. And then the last thing I wanted to just say is I want to give a shout out and a thank you to all the interns that have been part of CCS. We launched, as I stated again, just at the May of last year. And almost immediately we started a robust internship program, and that program continues to grow. We are attracting hundreds of interns applying for our positions, interns across a wide variety of disciplines, from policy, biomedical research, social media, and all kinds of different areas, policy, business development, all kinds of different areas. And we're just very excited because not only are they helping us in reaching our impact that we hope to do, but also we've been helping them in their career path. And so I'll turn it over to Sarah, who's going to share a brief video clip of some of the words from the interns and a description of the experience they've had here at CCS.
At CCS, I learned a lot more about the science that goes into animal testing and the human-centered biology, and that's stuff I hadn't been exposed to before, even though I was interested in it. And the position I have now looks heavily at the stuff that I learned while I was at CCS, and I don't think I would have this job without my time with them.
Most research that goes on is really based on animal models, and that's something we learn in school, and this kind of steps away from it, and we're looking at more new innovative technologies, and it's a little more inspiring, I think, to say, because we're trying to put aside what we already know and try to come up with new things.
Being that it's such a mission-driven organization, the integrity throughout and just the kindness and generosity of the people within it are, I think, really what makes it special.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to turn it over to Damon. And just before, I should have mentioned this earlier, we are recording this event just for any of our other members and followers who want to see this event later on if they weren't able to join us live. Okay, Damon, back to you.
Yep. Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us. And I just wanted to share a few highlights of how we've been setting up the infrastructure for the organization so that we can have a growing and sustainable organization throughout the future. And so we set up just a first-class website. We used Pentagram, some designers in New York City, to help us with this website. And it really presents us as a forward-thinking organization. It really gives us a good positive view by all of our audience out there. We started several channels on social media platforms, and we're posting regularly, being very consistent there. We established our accounting process, building a program-based accounting process to where we can account for the monies that are going to specific programs and where that spend is happening. We did receive the Gold Transparency Award by GuideStar, but just at the turn of this year, we received the Platinum rating for transparency. So we're just really growing along and laying down this solid infrastructure in writing our policies and setting up standard operating procedures so that we have this solid foundation, as Aisha talked about, to now build some really good programs on top of that foundation. And so we've had a successful year. I'm excited to be a part of it. And I'm going to turn it over to Tori, who is our Chief Development Officer. And she's going to introduce herself and share a little bit from her area. Tori?
I'm Tori Shell-Cross-Price. I am the Chief Development Officer here at CCS. I joined in October. And have been so excited about the work that we have been doing. We've accomplished a lot in just the short term that I've been a part of this exciting organization. We've launched a few wonderful programs, one that Aisha will be discussing a bit later, but we've also been engaging with our donors in some very high-level ways, which I'm very excited about. We've launched a couple of opportunities for engagement for industry partners. One is called the Corporate Alliance, and then we are also engaging with the scientific and academic industry through our scientific consortium, where we're going to pull together a unified scientific voice so that we can really sort of power through and be a powerhouse in this space on the political and social fronts. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard from me, and will be continuing to hear from me as we engaged together to build, as Damon mentioned, a sustainable organization. As Aisha mentioned, without you as the donors and our supporters, we would not be where we are today. And so I personally as well am incredibly grateful for the enthusiasm of our donors and for your, for this long-term mutually beneficial relationship that we're building together. We all are all in this together, and I couldn't be more enthusiastic and proud to be part of this incredible organization. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Aisha.
So we have several different programs and initiatives we're launching. One is we're going to be working on supporting several policy initiatives right now that are hoping that will help create more innovation in biomedical research. One is working with language with our regulatory agency, Food and Drug Administration, to open the doors to allow different types of testing methods to be used in place of, or instead of animal testing, methods that can be superior, methods that can be more effective. We know now that most drugs that are found safe and effective in animals end up failing when tried in humans, and most of them fail because they are found to be unsafe or ineffective in humans. So we know that there's a need for a better way. And so this policy and some other policy initiatives are really helping, we hope, will, with our support and with other organizational support and research and scientist support, we can really help open the doors for greater innovation in biomedical research. But one of the great programs that we're launching, and it's just going to be launched actually in 2 weeks from now, is our Breakthrough series. And it's a series of workshops this year that we're hosting in collaboration with the Johns Hopkins Center for Alternatives to Animal Testing. We have an outstanding selection of experts in their fields who are participating in these workshops. And the goal of the workshop is to look at specific disease areas or health issues and really say, look at the specific areas where there hasn't been a lot of progress in many years. And, we've seen therapies come through to fail again and again in those areas. So we want to look at it with a fresh approach. So how can we really transform our understanding in those areas if we start and end with human biology? So to create, in a sense, a kind of a roadmap, what techniques can we use that are human biologically focused methods that can really help us understand the causes of these diseases, the effects these diseases have, the symptoms that they manifest, and really help us understand how it's the best way to find the treatments and the cures so many patients need. As we're launching this in 2 weeks, the first workshop is going to be in Parkinson's disease. And the next two topics identified are Alzheimer's disease and vaccine development. And of course, vaccine development is a very timely issue. But I wanted to just stop for a moment and talk about Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and especially Parkinson's. As a neurologist, I can't tell you, it's one of the worst things to actually give a patient a diagnosis of a neurological disease like Parkinson's disease, or to tell family members that their mom or their dad has Alzheimer's disease. And not only are these illnesses devastating for the individuals and the families around them, but we have so little in the way of therapies. We have no treatment for these diseases themselves. For Parkinson's and for Alzheimer's, we only have treatments for the symptoms that result from Parkinson's disease and that results from Alzheimer's disease. It's truly devastating to give that diagnosis. And recently I had to give that diagnosis of Parkinson's disease to a friend of mine, which I can tell you I did not want to do. And I had to watch an aunt deteriorate from Parkinson's disease, and she died only a few months ago. And I saw the impact her illness had on her husband, my uncle, and just to watch this vibrant, intelligent, robust woman just deteriorate into someone that most people wouldn't be able to recognize. Her family couldn't recognize her. And it's really heartbreaking. And so with these workshops, I'm so truly excited about the potential for what we can do. These workshop series could really be game changers. And so what we're hoping with each of these workshop series is to produce a series of scientific papers that will reach thousands of scientists in those respective fields, and to start building consensus on a way ahead, to start building a roadmap that people can follow and say, yes, we're going to use these techniques in a very organized way to really help transform our understanding of those diseases. And I hope that, and I have a great deal of confidence that we can really, with this new, fresh approach in biomedical research in these areas, we have a way of really bringing hope to patients who have not had it for many years. So I'm truly grateful for Jared Bailey, our Director of Science and Technology, who couldn't be with us today. One of his beloved dogs just passed away. So he unfortunately couldn't be with us, but we are so grateful for his work in this area and grateful for what we hope to be able to accomplish with these workshops. So with that, I think we're almost upon the half hour. And again, we just all wanted to thank everyone for being part of CCS, for coming along with us on this ride as we launched in a not so great time, to be honest, but also a time that really showcases why CCS needs to be here, why we need the best biomedical research options, the methods that are most predictive of human biology, that can be used most quickly and inexpensively, and be used really to rapidly come up with new vaccines, new treatments for whatever the next pandemic or infectious disease issue that comes about, or for any of these diseases that do not have effective therapies. So with that, I'll just ask everyone to join me, everyone in my staff to join me, and just to say thank you again to everyone who's been part of CCS, and we are really looking forward to a great next year.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
and
everybody.
if everyone could unmute for just a moment, and then let's just all give a big cheer if we could. If everyone could unmute.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.